South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rock and dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grand View Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show. Every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grand View Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grand View Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Hi, everybody. Welcome in. This is Sports by the Book. We are live at the South Point Hotel and Casino. We've got a great week ahead in the sports world. I don't care who's playing. We've got 2 NFL games tonight. We're going to go through those tomorrow. NBA Cup Championship, which is happening right down the street from us. And then we've got first ever FBS 12-team playoffs in college football starting this Friday. So very exciting week, and it is December 16th. Looking ahead to Christmas. If you are in Las Vegas, come down to the South Point. The decorations are incredible. And no more cowboy Christmas here. Rodeo is gone. So come check out the beautiful Christmas decorations. We've got a tree right by the sports book. You can find them all around by everybody's favorite cafe and all the great restaurants here as well. I'm Alex White here hosting the next 3 days with my dad, professional sports bettor Kenny White. Today we're going to talk about those 2 NFL games. We're going to go through the NBA slate. And then on the second half, we're going to talk hockey. We have 3 really good hockey games on the board and a lot of college basketball. Let's do a little recap. Let's talk about the weekend. How was your weekend in sports and just overall?
Hey, Alex. Good morning. It was, I don't know. It just seemed like a long weekend, but it went fast. It really did. I don't know. I think it was a profitable weekend for betting sports. It's just been, sports is a roller coaster ride and it's up and down. So Friday the 13th, I'm very superstitious, always have been, and that's never been a good day. And it was not a good day. It was a losing day, but Saturday and Sunday were pretty good. The NFL was a winner yesterday, which is nice. And women's college basketball kind of, this time of year, you don't get the results you really want to get. I don't think because of there's so much going on. We have to remember the athletes have their lives too.
Right.
And they have parties and family get-togethers, and they have, functions that they're not used to having. September, October, they're all doing their thing, going to school, going to practice, playing games. Now you're throwing in, exams, you're throwing in, like the Christmas stuff, holiday stuff. So it just makes it more challenging. I'm looking forward now for conference to start for men's and women's college basketball.
And I'm looking forward to playoffs now with NFL because we are getting down here. We have some other teams that were eliminated and some teams that have clinched. The Houston Texans clinched their division yesterday. And it's still, oh my gosh, and the NFC is still wide open, but I would say that they had a pretty good day yesterday, Tampa Bay over the Chargers. It's interesting. Jeff Fogel has a write-up that you can be a part of that. And he did a write-up with the different conferences against each other and maybe some of the teams just giving up in the second half. So do have to pay attention to some of those because they aren't as meaningful, right? Besides the head-to-head actual conference matchups. But looking forward to that. Looking forward to playoffs. Excited about college basketball. We've had some really good games this past weekend in men's. I didn't watch your women's basketball games, but in the men's, there were some really good games, really good teams going head-to-head. But anything surprising, any teams you're looking at to make a run here? We still have the Dolphins, who that was a tough loss for them, but they are still in the hunt, and the Cincinnati Bengals, as well as the Colts, who had a tough loss as well. So that's just kind of looking at the AFC there. But
San Francisco is 2 games out with 3 to go. It's amazing. Like you said, it's playoff time. 3 games left. These teams got to be going at it every game. They've got to be given their best effort. Even teams that are losing, players are playing for contracts, coaches are playing for something. So there's always something to play for. I don't think you ever see a team completely quit. It's very rare. So I think that this is a good time. Again, even though it is the holiday season, the NFL does only play once a week, but I think it's a good time to bet the NFL because I think you're going to get better results right now, especially the next 3 weeks.
Well, look at the Saints. Talk about not giving up. They didn't even give up in that game yesterday against the Commanders, and they are technically not eliminated either. It's going to be an uphill battle. Derek Carr, concussion protocol and broken hands. I don't know if we will see him back, but you're right. Players still playing really hard, and that's kind of what we have in tonight's matchups. Of course, the Vikings out to an outstanding start. Nobody really expected it. Of course, when you have Justin Jefferson and Addison as your wide receivers, you always have a shot, and they have a really good coach there. 11-2. Now we've got a division matchup with the Chicago Bears, who have kind of fallen off, and they did fire their head coach, and they haven't really gotten that head coach bump just yet. Getting 7 points here with the Bears tonight. Is that enough for you to like the dog in this one?
Well, it's funny you said what did you say? Funny. I knew you said something funny. The Vikings, nobody expected them to be this good. And you're right, 11-2. They are having an amazing season.
Well, everybody talked about that division being so good, and they talked about the Lions, of course, who has been this amazing story in the NFC. And then they talked about the Packers making their way with Jordan Love. And they even had the Bears up there because they got the number 1 overall pick. They thought Caleb Williams was going to save them right off the bat, right? And kind of just penciled in the Vikings dead last in that division. And here they are at 11-2. Sam Darnold having an outstanding year. Kind of have waited to see this from him. Very high expectations coming into the league, but sat behind Purdy last year, right? And had Kyle Shanahan, and I think that was good for him. So, yeah, nobody expected them. Here they are. How meaningful is this game for them compared to the Bears, though? Because the Bears have officially been eliminated, just 4-9 on the year. So might be, you said it earlier, might be their Super Bowl here.
Well, yeah, it is on a Monday night, and you're out for the year this early. You have 4 games left to go. With the new coach, you said they didn't get the bump because they didn't. Matt Eberflus was fired after the Detroit Lions Thanksgiving Day game, not kicking a field goal and sending it to overtime and giving your team a chance to win. Thomas Brown was elevated from the offensive coordinator, and he's a young guy, 39 years old, was a running back at Georgia. Has coached at a lot of different spots in college, and then was hired by the Rams and Sean McVay and was made an assistant head coach. So Sean McVay must have seen a lot in Thomas Brown. He's been an offensive coordinator for Charlotte one year and Chicago this year. So I'm going to guess he's a player's coach, and the players probably really like him. I don't think they wanted to get blown out by San Francisco, but that's a really good football team still, even though they're not a playoff team. I think you're going to get a really good effort out of Chicago. They do have revenge. They're a division rival. They lost in week 12, 30-27 at home. So you've got that revenge factor. The Vikings just want to win. And the Jets probably said when the Vikings got Sam Darnold, good luck. We didn't get anything out of him. What can you do? And he's been really good. Even in the last 5 weeks, I think he's even been better. 8.7 yards a pass, 11 touchdowns, just 3 INTs. Over those last 5 games, his median 22 for 32, 246, and 2 touchdowns. He's been really good. But again, I think you're going to get a really good effort out of the Bears. The Vikings, I wanted to talk about this. They won 6 in a row. They started the year winning 5 in a row. Then they lost 2 games to the Lions and the Rams. But they've beaten the Colts, the Jaguars, the Titans, the Bears, the Cardinals, and the Falcons. Nobody really impressive. I think the best team on there, you would say, is the Cardinals, right?
Yep.
They beat them 23-22 at home by 1. Did not cover. So they're happy to win those type of games. I think that Caleb Williams, I like what I've seen out of him. His numbers for the last 5 starts, 20 for 31, no interceptions, 231, and 2 touchdowns. He's going to keep his team in the game, I think. I really think it's going to be a close football game. I like the Bears plus the 7.
That first matchup you said was pretty high scoring, and here we just have 43.5. That's because, the Bears defense has been really good. The numbers don't necessarily say it. They are 9th in points allowed, holding teams to just 21.4, but 24th in total yards allowed. On the flip side, the Vikings defense has really given a lot of teams problems. They're 2nd right now against the run, and they are 4th in points allowed, holding teams to 18.5. So maybe a slight lean to the under. Second time these two are seeing each other. Division matchup familiarity.
A lot of people have talked about that. I went back and did a little survey a couple years ago, and it didn't show that the second games went under. Maybe a lot of people do bet those, and I use closing lines on a lot of the surveys I use because I think that's the strongest line you're going to get to evaluate against. So it didn't show that, but I know a lot of people do believe that. So I think the total is just right. Your both defenses have been good. Median points allowed for the Bears, 19, and for the Vikings, 17.
Wow.
But over the last 3, that's not the case. Over the last 3 for the Bears, their defense has allowed 30 points, and the Vikings have allowed 22.
Who are the Bears' last 3? I know the Niners.
They've played, their last 4 games, they've played the Packers, the Vikings, the Lions, 3 divisional games in a row, and then had to go to San Francisco. That's really tough because, these teams get up for divisional games more than any other game. They're the rivals, and they had to play 3 straight and then go on the road to San Francisco. That's got to be something to look at. I don't really see that very often, a team playing 3 straight weeks of division games.
And now this is their 3rd straight week on the road, too, for Chicago. So that's another tough.
And out of those division games, they were 2-0-1 ATS. They tied the Viking game. They were getting 3 at home from the Vikings. Now here they are getting 7. But you're right. That's 3 in a row on the road now. Can they get up one more time? Maybe the week to fade them is next week. I'm not sure who they play.
Well, we have the schedule right here. I don't know if we can see that far. I can't see under the Vikings. Oh, it's the Lions again.
Oh, my gosh. Well, they're going to get up for that game. There's got to be a letdown game on their schedule. I was looking at Minnesota's schedule to see who they have. And they've played this week's schedule. They need to win tonight because they play at Seattle, Green Bay, and at Detroit. If they lose this game tonight, they could go on a 4-game losing streak into the playoffs. They really could. And they've clinched. I don't know when they clinched a playoff spot, but that's important too. Did they clinch that, after last week? So that could be another little letdown situation for Minnesota. I like Chicago here. I think they stay in the game. You're right. Detroit. They play Detroit, and then they host the Seahawks. That could be their letdown game because they finish at the Packers.
Right.
One of their biggest rivals.
Well, Caleb Williams has so many weapons there. Rome Odunze, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and then a great running back in DeAndre Swift. So I am excited to see where this team goes after this season because, of course, they are already eliminated. But I do think their ceiling is pretty high, and they have a pretty good roster there. Especially, this defense has been good now for a couple years, so they have the talent there. So I made it 8.5. If I give a little bit for the revenge, can get to 6, but not really a strong play for me. So nothing in this one, but I do like I do like something with the total in the next game, and we're going to switch over to the Falcons and the Raiders. Of course, the Raiders have had a tough year with their quarterbacks. Minshew out, Aiden O'Connell out, and now they will have Desmond Ridder, who has a little bit of a revenge spot here coming over from the Atlanta Falcons. We know Kirk Cousins has struggled as of late with the Falcons. They are a 5.5-point favorite on the road. This is indoors, and that's kind of where I'm leaning. I made this game 49. It is 44.5 here at the South Point. I think you were making a case for the Raiders. No Max Crosby, though. He did get surgery. He will be out for the rest of the season since they do have just 2 wins and not really playing for much here, but pride, of course, and they are at home. So I think we can see points from both sides here. I like the over in this one. Anything for you?
Yeah, I hope it is. And Bob Davis sent a message into the chat. Please, everybody, please get into the chat, like and subscribe to the show. He had said, I had mentioned something about my number being Atlanta 4 and 43. And he said on the sheet, it says 2.5, 54.5. He's correct. It is supposed to be 2.5, 54.5 on the Falcons. I was looking at the opening number, and that's how many sports I'm doing. I just got to look at a column and see a number. And most of the time I get it right, but this time I got it wrong. I'm glad that it is this way, that I only had Atlanta 2.5 in this game and 54.5. They have not played good football. They've lost 4 straight games. They've lost to the Saints, Broncos, Chargers, and Vikings, all pretty decent teams, but 3 out of the 4 on the road. This is their 4th road game in 5 weeks. Kirk Cousins' last 5 starts, 66% completions, not bad, 7.9 yards a pass, very good, but 3 touchdowns, 8 INTs. They're -9 in turnovers the last 5 games, have not played well at all. The Raiders are not a team I want to back because they have not had a really good year, obviously, 2-11. Their ATS record over the last 5 is 1-4. But the Falcons are not a very good team right now, and you're laying points with them. And the number has gone up. I'm willing to take the Raiders here. Definitely want to go over the total. It is a meaningful game for the Falcons because they're still battling, but it's a non-meaningful game for the Raiders. And you mentioned with Crosby out, one of the best defensive players in football, that's a little less for Cousins to worry about.
Yeah.
Here's the key for me, like in the Raiders, the biggest key, Desmond Ridder. I think he's a really good quarterback. He played at Cincinnati, took his team to the national championship. It was a well-coached team by Luke Fickell, but you don't do it unless you're a really good quarterback. You don't get there. Brett Favre was at Southern Mississippi, and he was one of the best quarterbacks that ever played in the NFL. Desmond Ridder will never be a Brett Favre, but he could be a starting quarterback in the NFL. I think he's that good. He started for the Falcons last year. Who are they playing tonight?
They're playing the Falcons.
He's playing against his old team who he started against, and they let him go. I think that Desmond Ridder will definitely have a big game tonight against a Falcon defense who's beat up with a ton of injuries, and I think he puts a big number on the board. And without Max Crosby rushing Cousins, they'll have a good game. I'll let you go on to some stuff, and then I've got some median stats for some players, but I do like the Raiders, and I do like over.
Well, to your point, Arthur Smith, no longer the head coach for the Falcons, but he did not want to give up on Desmond Ridder either. He continued to play him over and over, and I know it was an interception issue, and we might see some interceptions from both quarterbacks tonight. And I think that's what you talked about with Kirk Cousins, right? It's not really it's the velocity in his throws, right? And you can kind of see that when you play because it just falls right into the defender, does not get far enough to his guys. But hoping to see a bounce back from him. I really am. Everyone's rooting for him. It's a tough guy not to root for with Kirk Cousins. So
the injury story that he had with the broken leg at the end of the season, but the velocity isn't there. I don't know what it was last week. I just heard this on a show a couple of weeks ago that he was the lowest velocity. His fastball is way down. He didn't throw a football over 39 miles an hour. Now, I don't even know what the average football is thrown at, but when they tell me he hasn't thrown one over 39 miles an hour, they're saying he doesn't have the arm strength anymore. And those numbers, when you're looking at the last 5 weeks, 3 touchdowns, 8 INTs, that shows. And he's throwing the ball more over the last 5 weeks. His season median is 30 attempts a game. Over the last 5 weeks, they've had to throw it 37 times per game because they've been behind. Bijan Robinson's a running back that's coming around. Last 5 starts, 20 carries, 92 yards, and a touchdown. I think he gets in the end zone. I think Brock Bowers gets in the end zone. Bowers, last 5 starts, they've targeted him 10 times, 5 catches, 49 yards. He scored a touchdown in 3 out of the last 5 games. Now, I would more use his season median that he catches 6 passes for 58 yards. I think he could go over that. I don't know what his number is. It's probably 6.5.
You just reminded me I have to take Brock Bowers' touchdown tonight. You're right, because he has not scored a touchdown in Allegiant yet.
Oh, he hasn't.
Nope.
But he scored a touchdown in the last 3 of the 5. They've been on the road.
They've been on the road.
4 of the last 5 weeks, the Raiders have been on the road. They're probably happy to be home. Yeah, I think it'll be a close game, and I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. The Falcons will be extremely happy if they win 31-30, and we'll be extremely happy.
Any other median numbers or anything for players? So looking at Bijan Robinson from the Falcons side, which I cannot argue with that at all. Raiders have been decent against the run, giving up 117 on average rushing yards per game, but still he is a top running back in the league. And then Brock Bowers on the other side, who is leading the team in receiving yards and one of the best tight ends right now.
So we're a different talk show host or talk show sports than most sports shows. People are out there talking. They go to the line and they see what the line is, and then they decide whether they want to bet it over or not. We make our own numbers. We're busy doing that while they're looking through sports books to see what the odds are everywhere, and we're busy making a number, coming up with our own number. And then going to the book. So I haven't even gone to the sports books yet to look to see what these numbers are, because we do need to compare. I would love to compare. Let's go. If you can pull up, I'm trying to pull up right now the some of these prop numbers, because and again, I'm looking for overs too. You should be looking for unders, but in these 2 games tonight, I'm kind of looking for overs again. The first game with Minnesota, we know Justin Jefferson is a great player, and his numbers over the last 7 games, 7 receptions, 99 yards. He did not have a good game the first game. His number is 81.5. His median for the year is 85, and his median for the last 7 games is 99. So I like him over 81.5.
Well, the last time these two did play each other, it was all Jordan Addison in that one. He is leading the team with 8 touchdowns, and he had 162 yards on 8 receptions. So, with that being said, the Bears might focus a little bit more on Jordan Addison, and maybe Justin Jefferson can. I think he had 2 touchdowns last week as well, right?
Yes.
To break his streak.
Yeah, no, he's been really good too. Yeah, that broke a 6-game streak that he had no touchdowns.
But you're looking at not necessarily scoring, just over in his receiving. I'm looking over in his
receiving.
Yeah.
Now, you're right. He only had 5 balls thrown his way the first time these two played, and he only had 2 receptions. So they did a good job defensing Justin Jefferson, and they may do the same thing again here tonight, but I got to go over with his yards. And that being said, if they do defense him that well, Addison's at 55.5 yards. I would go over with him. I think there's a chance you could get both players over. If Jefferson goes under, Addison better go over.
Right, absolutely.
We're looking for Darnold to throw for 246, and the books are looking 253.5. Caleb Williams is at 224.5. And we mentioned this is indoors as well, controlled environment. I think that Williams will go over this number as well. I think he goes over 224.5. So I like over with him as well. Let's check the other game.
Looking at Bijan Robinson right now, his rushing number right now is 82.5. Wow. And then Sincere McCormick, who has been the Raiders' go-to running back now, his is 58.5.
That's
and Tyler Algier is 27.5. I know you like him as well with Bijan Robinson, kind of a 1-2 punch for the Falcons. So
Robinson's really come around a lot lately, and they're giving it to him 20 times a game the last 5 weeks. They're going to feed him the football. I think he's going to get it 20 sometimes. easily in this game. So I'd like over 82.5 with him. The passing, let's look at Kirk Cousins, 242.5 passing yards. He can get that, but he's going to have to throw it 37 times. I don't know if he's going to throw it that often. I think they're going to run the ball a little bit more tonight than they normally would. That doesn't mean they're not going to score points. And there's no props up for Desmond Ridder because I guess there's still a question mark whether he's going to start tonight. I think he's starting. How could you not start him against his old team? He's the best quarterback on the roster. I think he's better than Gardner Minshew. So he'll show it tonight if he gets his chance. I think he's going to give his team a chance to win. It's going to be up to Antonio Pierce. Can he coach his team to a win?
Do you have Brock Bowers' media numbers? Because his receiving yards is 65.5.
It's a little higher than what he's done this year. Overall, 6 for 58.
Okay.
6 receptions, 58 yards. I would look at his receptions, I think, more.
Okay.
That you could get something on
6.5.
Yeah, see, that's overinflated a little bit as well. I think Desmond Ridder's going to have to spread it around, but I would look for Bowers to get a touchdown, whatever that touchdown might
I'm
is.
seeing plus 175.
Yes, you're not even getting a bargain there.
Yeah.
But he's the main guy, and I think Ridder will find him in the end zone.
Yes. Well, and like I said, he has not scored at Allegiant yet. All of his touchdowns have been on the road. So
and he's scored in 3 of the last 5 games.
Yep.
So, I mean, if you just took those numbers, you're laying $1.50.
Okay.
Should be minus 150
right.
instead of plus. So, and that's recent biasy. The problem is Ridder and Bowers haven't had much time together, but I think, the last 2 weeks in practice, maybe it is enough time.
Yeah. He is he was in the running actually for offensive rookie of the year, but kind of tough to give it to a team that has 2 wins on the year. But let's go through our NBA slate quickly before we take a break and then switch over to some college basketball and some hockey. So getting out your basketball sheets here, and shout out to Bob Davis too, who did comment on there, who clearly does have your power rating sheets, which you can get from KennyWhiteSports.com, and you can get all his power rating numbers for every sport that is going on. I will check in. So Bob Davis is in there, and Dean Hilt, Vince, A. Gold. Dean Hilt said he listened to a Myles Garrett interview, and he said, what do you have to play for now that you're out of the playoffs? And he said, every game we're there to win. It's about a pride thing. So we do know that about the players. They are definitely not tanking. And Vicarious Vegas, good morning as well. So going through our NBA sheets, NBA slate, starting with the 76ers and the Hornets. Philadelphia has not been great against the spread, just 9-14 on the year. You're laying 3 with them, 3.5 actually on the road in Charlotte. Total 217 in this one.
I made, there's injuries. Joel Embiid, when I first looked at this game, I thought, hey, finally, maybe Joel Embiid's getting close to back to, midseason form. He's getting close to midseason form. He probably still needs 5 or 6 more games to get there, but he's getting closer. And I thought this will be a good spot for the Sixers to win big tonight. But he's not playing.
Oh my gosh.
He's sitting this one out. And then LaMelo Ball will be back. I may have the wrong Ball brother's name.
No,
it is LaMelo?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's worth 6 points to the line and 6 to the total. So I adjusted that, and the total has been bet up already. The number on the Sixers is 3.5. I have 2.5, but I would lean to Charlotte. But I only have 208 on the total, and it's up to 218.
Wow.
I just don't think they're big, high-scoring teams. I just haven't seen that out of Charlotte this year. Under and over, they're 14-9 to the under in their games, and they're 15-9 under in the second half. Maybe a team to look at. But you know what? This is amazing. This is really amazing on both these teams. The Sixers in the second half are 5-17. They have not done well. The Charlotte Hornets 17-7 in the second half of their games this year. Maybe that's the spot.
Wow.
Since Ball's been out a couple games, give him the first half to get his timing back in order, and then Charlotte could have a big second half. Hopefully the Sixers are up at halftime. I wouldn't bet Charlotte if they're leading at halftime.
Right.
If they're down 6-8 points at halftime, I think that'd be a great spot to bet Charlotte in the second half.
That is pretty crazy looking at the differences there in their second half ATS. But going to the second game, we've got Miami Heat 4.5 on the road in Detroit. Total 219 here between the Heat and the Pistons.
I made the game 203.5. Big under for me. Like the way they play defense. The one concern I have with Miami, I'd heard gossip or read something somewhere that the Heat are shopping Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, I actually did see an article.
So that concerns me. Where your head's at when you know the team is shopping you. And they're a great organization with Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra. 16 years there. They've been very good organization. He's a really good head coach, and that just surprises me. So they're probably not getting the effort that they expected out of Butler. Under and over numbers, the Pistons 15 and 10 to the under this year. So they do go there, but that's definitely a play for me. Under 219.
Second half too. Pistons 14 and 9 to the under.
Like it.
Chicago Bulls, Toronto Raptors. The Raptors have actually been really good against the spread, 18 and 8. Let's take a look at the line here. We've got the Bulls 2 and the total 240 in this one.
I want to point out, I'm going to go back the first two games, Alex. The team's pace, all four teams, very slow. The Sixers 96.5, Charlotte 97, Miami 96.8, and Detroit 98. 100's about the average pace. So these teams are playing 2 or 3 less possessions per game than the normal teams, and all of their defenses are fairly decent. Miami is the only team with an above average offensive performance number.
Right.
So that bodes well for unders in both of those games. Toronto, I made a half, and 243.5, pretty close to those numbers you just talked about.
How about the Cavs and the Nets here in this one? Cleveland is a 10-point favorite, total 216.5.
Yeah, I only have 4 and 221. Evan Mobley missed our last game, but I've got him back in. The Brooklyn Nets have quite a few decent. I think they're the decent team, and they just traded Schroeder, their point guard, but they have Simmons. They've got Finney Smith. They got Cam Thomas is not playing tonight, but Claxton I like Johnson, the forward. This is I think they're an okay basketball team. What have they done? ATS 15 and 9.
Yeah. And
They're
better
15 and
defense than offense, right? And they want to control the pace and play at a slower pace while Cleveland wants to run.
Yeah, 97 possessions. That's low. Cleveland at 100. Cleveland's had a remarkable year. They really have. The start to the season, 22 and 4. They've had a great year, great start to the season. So, but again here, I think it's too many points. I'll take the dog.
Okay, getting 10 here with the Brooklyn Nets. Let's go Denver Nuggets and Sacramento. The Kings minus 1.5, total 237.
I made Denver 1.5, 239.5. It looks like everybody's playing. Murray's back, Gordon's in, Jokic is fine. Sacramento is a team that does play fast. Their possession's 98. I'm kind of surprised that it's not higher than that. Denver 101. They've been definitely running. Both teams' offenses, when you look at my sheet, the 2 and 3 best offenses of the night. Cleveland's number 1 at 20.9, but that number's been coming down a little bit. But these two teams can score, and they will give up points on the year. Both teams, Sacramento's 13 and 13, but Denver 15 and 8 to the over. I lean to the over in this one, and it looks like an over to me.
Pretty crazy. Sacramento has 3 more games than Denver, 13 and 13, and Denver 13 and 10. So just how the schedule works.
Just yeah.
But I've been looking at that with hockey a lot, and it's pretty fascinating.
I don't think it's enough to, rest. I mean, calculate like this team may be more tired than the other team in the NBA. These guys are used to playing basketball every day.
Right.
They've been playing basketball every day of their life since they were before high school. So they're used to it. They're used to playing a lot of games.
So you like this over and you like the dog in this one?
I lean to the over. But yeah, is Denver's getting points?
Denver's getting points.
We're crossing 0 and that the game can't tie. So kind of splitting hairs on the side, but my difference isn't that big on the over. And I don't like to bet a lot of overs, but this game looks like an over to me. And maybe the first half over is the way to go in that one. I'd rather bet first half's over because a lot of times if the game gets close, which this game's supposed to get close, it could tighten up in the fourth quarter. So again, I did that in a football game this weekend on the FCS. Somebody texted me or emailed me and said, man, you nailed that right on with the North Dakota State, that they would score a bunch early and then have a lead and shut it down in the second half. And it's exactly what they did. So you bet the first half over and you bet the second half under and you got 2 winners. This could be another one of those games where you get a high scoring first half, low scoring second half.
The only thing that worries me a little bit is Jokic, because I think he takes a little bit of time to get warm. And you can see right there on their numbers, 14-9. Oh, no, that's ATS. Okay.
ATS, yeah.
So nothing crazy, just 12-11 to the over. So, yeah, nothing there. But you see him have really big fourth quarters.
Oh, yeah, he'll take over. But again, if they slow the pace down a little bit to work him in, which they have to do, that could help the game go under.
Last but not least, we got Utah and the Clippers here. The Clippers are 8.5 at home. The total is 222.5.
Wow, I can't believe it's that high. It's coming down. I only made it 207. The Clippers play very, very good defense, especially at home. Looking at these two teams, the Clippers are 14-10 under. Utah's under in the second half, 14-10 under in the second half. Pace-wise, Jazz 99 possessions, 98 for the Clippers. Clippers defense, again, 110 points allowed, is the best of any team that's playing today. And their offense at 110.7 is one of the lowest. The first game, actually, Sixers and Hornets are both lower. They're the lowest game of any scoring teams.
Wow.
The Jazz defense is a little suspect. They're giving up 121 per game.
Yep.
But the Clippers just seem to me like an under team under Tyronn Lue. It just seems like they're a good under team right now, and they've been going under. So my numbers say it's low. I like it under.
Well, James Harden has had so many assists too. I need to get his median numbers for that. So he's been facilitating and done a very good job this year in that regard. So they're running their offense right and not just breakaways and stuff. Takes more time.
Yeah.
Good for unders.
Yeah, it does when you're setting up. And James Harden has always been, when he's at point guard, he takes forever and he holds the ball so long. You've got to pass the basketball. When you pass the basketball, it makes the defense move. Player movement and good passing is teams. And James Harden takes too much time with the basketball dribbling. That's good for unders, though.
So you have your board. We're going to take a quick break. We'll fill out any plays that we like so far between the NFL and NBA. And then when we come back, we will dive into college basketball. And we've got 3 good hockey games coming up next here on Sports by the Book.
If you're celebrating a special occasion or just love fine dining, you're in the right place. Come experience the crown jewel of South Point restaurants, Michael's Gourmet Room.
Welcome.
With over 600 different types of wines and magnificent dishes prepared tableside, you'll revel in the rich classic Vegas decor and the best black tie service in the world. This intimate gourmet room has earned accolades galore. Come to Michael's Gourmet Room for an unforgettable dining experience. Another famous restaurant is the Silverado Steakhouse, where you'll find the charm and service that discerning patrons require. From top quality steaks and chops to fresh seafood and desserts, you'll love the award-winning wine list and menu at Silverado Steakhouse. Steak lovers have even more options with primarily prime rib. Catering to hearty appetites, the menu features a variety of flavorful prime rib cuts, dry-aged to ensure tenderness, and then seasoned and slowly roasted. Although prime rib is our specialty, it's not the only thing on the menu. There's something for everyone. And if you're craving a taste of Italy, come experience delicious Italian cuisine and the attentive service at Don Vito's. Our culinary team starts with the freshest ingredients and transforms them into traditional favorites. And don't forget Italian desserts. Don Vito's. Savor the taste of Italy. Finally, if sushi is more your style, join us at the popular Zenshin Asian restaurant and sushi bar, where we're serving up the freshest sashimi, nigiri, and sushi rolls. And beyond the sushi, an exciting contemporary Asian cuisine menu, plus a variety of specialty drinks, Japanese and domestic beer, wine, and sake. Balance your hunger with Zenshin.
Welcome back, everybody. Sports by the Book here on the South Point studio. Thank you so much for sharing our show. Please like, subscribe, and keep passing it along to your friends. We appreciate you all being in the chat with us as well. I'm Alex White alongside Kenny White. We're going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to go to some hockey, and then we're going to go back to the hardwood and talk about some college basketball. He is writing his plays already. It looks like he's got a lot for you today. We will show them at the end of the show, as we do every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Show you our whiteboards with our best bets of the day. Remember, Sports by the Book, 2 shows on Monday and Thursday. So tonight we will be back. Jeff Parles will be here to go through the 2 Monday night football games and probably preview some of the college football games coming up this weekend. So 3 p.m. here on this YouTube channel, 7 days a week. You can find us, Sports by the Book. And then, so I don't forget, for later, Punchlines today at noon with Frank Nicotero. I will be there as well. So Monday through Friday at noon, go to Punchlines FN for that show. Okay, let's dive right into some hockey. As I previewed earlier on, 3 really good games on the board tonight, and one that I know you're going to love because we've got revenge, and it is the best type of revenge in that second game. But let's start with the Washington Capitals, who have been one of the best surprises this hockey season. Even without Ovechkin, they still are finding ways to win on a nice little win streak here.
Yeah, it's amazing after losing Ovechkin. They did not play well for a couple games, but they've won 10 straight road games. I can't believe it. 10 straight. And here they are on the road again against Dallas. This could be the end of it, but you still have to add to this price. And it's almost, you should have been betting them. So you're like obligated to bet on them again. Here at the South Point, Dallas opened 140, bet up to 155. Some money on Dallas, the total 6.
And that's exactly where our number is right here with the Stars, minus 155 at home, and the total 6 flat in this one. 2 really good goaltenders, though. It could even be a lean to the under there. But looking at their numbers, the Caps are second in goals for per game, 3.97. 7th in goals against. They've gotten really good goaltending from Charlie Lindgren and now Logan Thompson as well. So that's been a great addition for them. Jake Ottinger on the other side for the Stars. They are 4th in goals against at 2.55. So lean to the under. And of course, that Washington Capitals streak on the road, but nothing definite in that one.
Florida at Edmonton. I think this is the game you were talking about.
It is.
It
is. Yep.
The Panthers, obviously one of the best teams in hockey. And there's 2 really good goalies in this one, Bobrovsky and Skinner. The betting line here at the South Point, Edmonton opened $1.30. A little money for the Panthers down to 125. Why not? A team that good getting a plus price. The total 6 over 15 down to 6, so a little money for the under.
Well, the Panthers are much better at home, so they are on the road here. But if you remember, this was our Stanley Cup matchup. Florida came out to a 3-0 lead. Edmonton comes back, ties the series up 3-3, and then Florida ultimately does win that. So revenge here for Edmonton. This is the first time they have seen each other since that series. I made it 141. I do think Edmonton's playing really good hockey right now. They're on a 5-game win streak, and I think they will definitely be ready for this game. Stuart Skinner, he's playing pretty good this year as well. He was kind of the issue with that team going that far, but he's playing really good in net. So I like the Edmonton Oilers in this one.
And they've won 5 in a row.
Yes.
5 straight wins, 5 straight home wins. I do as well. I like Edmonton here with that revenge factor from the Stanley Cup. And the final game of the night, 7:37. The puck will drop in Vancouver, Colorado, at Vancouver. This line here at the South Point, Colorado the favorite, 135 has been bet up to 150. 6 over 15, the opening total down to 6 under 15. So some money for Colorado and money for the under.
I definitely need to make an adjustment here on Vancouver. So Thatcher Demko, I believe it's his third game back now. Not a great start yet. He needs some time, right? He's been out for a while, coming off a major injury. So I think that is where that line movement is, because otherwise I would have Vancouver the favorite at home. But Colorado's starting to play really good as well, especially with their two new goalies, and they have Mackenzie Blackwood going tonight, and then Scott Wedgwood will be the backup. So I understand that move. I can't really jump in here with Vancouver getting plus money. Looking at the total, could go over, though, with these two. In Colorado, they've just a one-game over streak, but they're 8th in goals for, 3.31. They're 29th in goals against, giving up an average of 3.47. Of course, they did do some shuffling around, have two new goalies, so that will start to improve. But still, even from the defensive side, we know we're going to get goals from Colorado and going to give up some goals as well. Vancouver, 12th in goals for, 3.21. So they are doing some scoring as well.
Surprising. Vancouver's been great on the road, 10-2-1, but at home 5-7-4. And Colorado, you would think, would be a great home team. They're only 8-8 at home, 10-6 on the road. Yeah. Have these teams played this year? Do you know?
That might be the one I did not check.
Well, I'm going to look for you real quick. I'd like to know what happened.
No, this is their first one.
First game. Yep. Okay. So, because I don't want to give up on your Vancouver. You know, we think that Vancouver should be the favorite. They're still a really good hockey team, and they're having a good year. When you look at the standings.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they're a winning hockey team. They are 15-9-5.
15-9-5. Fourth right now, though, in the Pacific. Because Edmonton, the Kings, and the Knights are all playing very good. So
5-3-2 in their last 10. Colorado 6-4. I understand Thatcher Demko, but it's his third game now. Obviously, yeah, he's not in midseason form, but it's Blackwood on a new team for Colorado. So
yeah.
It's going to take some time for that. I just don't see Colorado being this big a favorite over Vancouver in Vancouver.
We do have quite a difference on the total, though, too. You like that plus money more than that over? I think I like that over.
For me, I probably will play both, 1% on both of those. I'm not going to bet one more than the other. So I'm going to look real quick here because we're going to see what these two teams did against each other last year.
Okay. And I'm going to add these plays to my board right now.
Yeah, you should. Those two. Well, they did not play in the playoffs, and Vancouver had a nice little playoff run. But my feel is Thatcher Demko's third game back. He's going to be a little bit better each start. Vancouver lost at Colorado their first time. They lost to Colorado the second time. Oh, wait, that was Columbus. I better spell Colorado out. So, get to the top. In November last year, they lost 5-2 at home. They lost 3-1 at home, and they lost 4-3 on the road. 0-3 to Colorado last year. Vancouver was.
Wow.
So, I like Vancouver here, plus the money.
Colorado's playing better, but I don't think they're as good as they were last year either. I don't think this Avs team is quite as good. We did pass over because I liked the Oilers so much. Passed over that total. If that total between Panthers and Oilers is 6, that might be an overplay as well. And I read it pretty good yesterday. No, the day before with the Knights and the Oilers.
Right.
Because they were going back to Vancouver, coming off of that weird game, right, where it was 1-0, playoff-style hockey. That was here in Vegas. Then they went to Edmonton, 6-3 final between those two. We talked about Edmonton. We talked about it during the playoffs. Faster ice, right?
Right.
This might be a good spot for an over here between Florida and Edmonton as well. But I like the Oilers personally better at -125 to get that win. Okay. You're writing down your hockey plays now, and then we're going to go to some college basketball. College hoops.
I got a full board of plays. I'm glad that I've only have so much room on the board. I've got 6 plays for everybody today.
Wow, very good. Okay, are you ready for some
college hoops?
Yes.
Yeah, we haven't even done that. And I know I did like some college basketball from the off board. We have a 10 a.m. game. Southeast Louisiana and Grambling, I went under 135 in that game. So that game tips in about 15 minutes.
Okay.
All right, let's start from the top.
College of Charleston, 7-point favorite.
Yeah, I made them 8, so I'm right there on the side. But the total, I made 156.5.
148 here at the South Point.
So, but an 8.5 point difference. Charleston runs. Wofford way better offensively than they are on defense, and I think maybe the key to the game is College of Charleston's been playing some pressure defensing, so they'll give up layups, and their offense is better than their defense. Both teams' offense is better than their defense, so I like that over the 147.
Okay. I don't think there's any more 147s. There's a 147.5 out there.
Okay, 148.
148 is the number. Okay, let's go to Middle Tennessee State, 5-point favorite at home against California Baptist. Total 146.5.
Yeah, I'm right on really both here. I made Middle Tennessee 5 and 147.5. Baptist 3-7 ATS.
Wow.
This year. I wanted to look real quick if there's anybody playing their first. I doubt it this late in the season if they play in their first. Nope. Baptist 0-2 on the road, 1-1 ATS. That first game, Wofford 1-5 ATS in their road games. So the money did come in on Charleston early.
Yes, it has moved. Grand Canyon, 2.5-point favorite on the road. Louisiana Tech hosting here in this one, 144.5.
I made the home team, Louisiana Tech, 1.5, 143. So nothing really there. I leaned to Louisiana Tech. I wanted to see what Grand Canyon's played one road game, and they're 0-1 in that road game. Very well coached, though. Bryce Drew's the head coach there. Telvin Hester is the head coach of Louisiana Tech. He's been there 3 years. They are 6-2 ATS. Grand Canyon 2-6 ATS. So I like the lean to my number there. At least I have the trends going my way. So Louisiana Tech will be a small play for me. Plus 2.5 if it's still out there.
Grand Canyon coming off a game against Georgia, semi-neutral in that one, lost 73-68. Played them tough though, but I agree, like the home team there. South Alabama, TCU lane 12 at home. The total 138 in this one.
I have 12.5, 134.5. So pretty close on the numbers in that game. Jamie Dixon at TCU, 2-7 ATS this year. And he's always been a defensive coach. His defense is far better than his offense is. And that's what he was at Pittsburgh. When he got to TCU, things kind of changed a little bit, but it looks like this year his defense is back. A little lean to the under, but not enough to be a play.
They are a bad free throw shooting team.
TCU? Well, they're probably a bad shooting team then.
Yeah, you said that defense is much better. Coming off a loss to Vandy in that one. So lean to the under. What'd you say? How big of a difference?
Blame, but it's not a play.
Okay.
It's not even close to being a play.
Montana, Northern Iowa. Northern Iowa is 11, total 146.
Well, that's been bet up. I made it 10.5, 143.5. So really nothing there in that game. And on the road, though, Montana 1-4 ATS in their road games, 0-5 straight up. So they've struggled on the road. And their coach, though, Travis McClure, he's been there for 10 years. So I would expect that to maybe get straightened out after a couple of weeks. Both these teams like to run a little bit. And Northern Iowa's offense is, both teams' offense, better than their defense.
Okay. But not interested in lane 11.
No. That's gone up too high. And that's why I think you're seeing money for Northern Iowa because of how bad Montana's played on the road.
Texas Tech, 27-point favorite at home against Oral Roberts, total 148.5.
Yeah, my number right there, 25 and 146. You know, this is Grant McCaslin at Texas Tech, and kind of surprised that he was at North Texas, and they played the slowest tempo. They played like Virginia, and I'm waiting for Texas Tech to start playing like Virginia. Slow pace, great defense. The defense is there, but the pace isn't. They're about average. I'm expecting that to get very slow in conference, that his pace will become slow. So we'll see if Texas Tech becomes that under team. They're 6-2 over right now.
That's because their offense has been so good, and they are a good shooting team. Looking at these numbers here on KenPom.
Colorado State, or Oral Roberts can't stop anybody. Their defense is one of the worst in the country. So maybe this is a Texas Tech number over team total. I have it 85. I could make a case for higher. Texas Tech may get, closer to 100 than they do 85.
I like that angle, definitely. Let's go Air Force, Northern Colorado. Northern Colorado, 9.5 at home, total 141.5.
I have 6.5 and 141.5. This game's been bet up. It did open up lower here at the South Point, 7. So I like Air Force. This is a obviously state rivalry type of game. They're both from Colorado.
Yep.
Air Force always travels well. So I'm looking at this game. Joe Scott's back. He loves to play slow. He's going to keep this pace at his pace. Northern Colorado wants to run. Guaranteed that Air Force controls the pace in this basketball game. I'll take the points. You got me if you want to give me Air Force plus 9.5.
62.8 is their possessions, so very slow pace with Air Force.
They play the Princeton offense. They work the ball around, run clock, and look for a good shot. So maybe they just the shots haven't fallen for them yet so far. They're averaging 65.6 a game. Again, I think it's a little lower scoring game, 141.5. I think, sooner or later, these Air Force games are going to start to go under.
A lot of turnovers. That seems to
be.
Is
that what they're doing?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that helps unders when a lot of turnovers.
Yeah. Well, as long as the other team can't capitalize, right?
Yep.
UTEP, El Paso. Here we go. 15-point favorite at home. The total 130.
I'm in at 13 and 124. Money did come in for the under in this game, and that's where my numbers are leaning to. Tarleton State, one of the worst offenses in the country, and they play extremely slow. Joe Golding for UTEP always has been a defensive head coach. Both teams' defense is better than their offense, so I do like that under as well.
Under 130 in Tarleton State and UTEP matchup. New Mexico State, 5-point favorite at home against Southern Utah, total 146.5.
I made them 5.5, 145. So we're very, very close to what the betting line is. Looking at my charts, both head coaches in their second year, both still learning. I really don't see a lot there, an advantage either way. The better defensive team is New Mexico State in this game, and New Mexico State's the favorite. So I had a client send me an email yesterday, I believe it was, and he was so happy that he found something with my basketball sheets. And he said dogs of +3 or more, home dogs that have the better defense.
Yeah.
I'm 10-1 on a 10-1 run. So it's nice when somebody finds something new in the sheets that can help them win. And that's what it's all about, that I'm giving you the foundation here with these power rating sheets, and then kind of up to you to kind of read between the lines and see where the best plays are.
I felt like baseball. We, throughout this past summer, as I was reading through your sheets and using them, we found some other things too.
Yeah, you went on a couple runs.
Yes, I did. And then you started to add more columns for us.
Yeah, I was trying to confuse you.
Yeah, you didn't. I kept. There's 3 extra games, and I know that you like all 3. You want to run through those before we get to our whiteboard? Yeah,
let's do it. And I already mentioned Southeast Louisiana Grambling that I made the total 128. Both teams, miserable offensive teams, but both are pretty good defensively. So that's why I like that under.
Okay.
Citadel is at Central Arkansas. I have Citadel the favorite, 1.5, 132.5. What's that current line?
You're getting 3.5.
Okay, so we like Citadel plus 3.5. Military Academy. Their coach has been there, it's 3rd year there now. They play methodical on offense. And what have they done on the road? 1-1, so they played 2 road games. Central Arkansas has been a horrible road team, I guess, but they're 1-9 on the season, 4-6 ATS. So they're a bad team, and you're asking them to lay points. Give me Citadel.
And then one more. Rice, 17-point favorite, 135.
I made Rice 15, 126.5. Both teams play at a slow pace, especially Alcorn. They're extremely slow, bad offense. Rice does play decent defense. They're above average defensively. So, under there. The under may be better on a team total. Alcorn State 0-11 on the road. They played all road games. They haven't played a home game yet. 5-4 ATS though in those road games. So they've hung in there. They've hung around the number. But yeah, I like that under. Alex, I made it 126.5. I get a 9-point play on the under.
I wonder if they're redoing their home court or something. That's typically when you see those, right?
Yeah, well, some of those teams, smaller teams from the SWAC, try to play a tougher schedule. Texas Southern is the one team that comes to mind that, and no one will go to your place.
Oh.
You go on the road to take a paycheck and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully improve your team and make your team better. And that's what the head coach is trying to do there at Alcorn. Landon Bussey. It's his 5th year there. So we'll see. Maybe he's going to have a good conference season.
Okay. I think I'm going to jump in. You said you like Citadel plus 3.5. I think I'm going to jump in with that Air Force. Take that 9.5. Control the pace there. Hang in there with Northern Colorado. But let's, did you get a chance to add any college basketball to yours?
I'm really comfortable with the plays that I have here for
Okay.
tonight's games.
You want to start it off?
Yeah. I took Bijan Robinson over 82.5 rush yards. I like the Raiders, surprisingly, but getting points at home. The Falcons, not a very good football team. Kirk Cousins really struggling. Caleb Williams, I like over in his passing yards in that Bears game. The Pistons NBA game, I like under. It's one of my biggest differences. Under 217, I like the Pistons. Slow pace, good defense. And in Vancouver, I'm going to go with them with Thatcher Demko in his 3rd game here.
Okay.
Plus 130 at home. And then I like the Bears, plus the 7.
Very good. All right, I'm going with that same NFL game as you. And know that you did just add in the Bears, but I'm just going with the Raiders game. We're going over 44.5. I am going Brock Bowers anytime touchdown plus 175. Got to get a touchdown in Allegiant. I'm going with the Nuggets plus 1.5. You made them a small favorite against Sacramento. So I think that they're the better team than the Kings, and they need to start turning it on starting now. Oilers revenge here, minus 125. I like the Avs and the Canucks over 6. And then Air Force college basketball could be that 9.5. And speaking of Air Force, Navy Army game this past weekend. Very entertaining one.
And a good one for us.
It was a good one. You said A beats B, B beats C, and then C turns around and beats A. And that's exactly what happened. Great season for both Navy and Army.
Yep. Great year from both programs. And that was, it's just one of those games. And it went over. It went over in regulation for the first time in 18 years.
Well, it just shows what they are doing there with those quarterbacks. Both very impressive. So, yeah, that was a great game. Definitely bucket list. I really want to go to one of those games. That's it for us for today. There's our boards. Please follow along with us. Bet what you like. Stay away from what you don't. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll go through them, and we'll have more plays for you tomorrow by the end of the show at 10.
Bet them all.
Bet them all. I'll see you at 12. Punchlines FN, different YouTube channel. Come back to this one at 3 o'clock for Sports by the Book with Jeff Parles. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow.